Situated within a Nazi German prisoner of war camp during World War II, how could Hogan's Heroes fail to be one of the most engaging sitcoms of all time? It was a spin-off of Billy Wilder's Stalag 17, 1953, but with more humor and less drama. And with a robust 6 seasons from 1965 to 1971, Hogan's Heroes garnered 2 Emmy Awards out of an impressive 11 nominations. Watching Hogan and his fellow so-called prisoners perform their utmost in terms of the war effort from within, always aided by the incompetence of the German camp leaders, was a delight. It was replete with excellent gags, countless tunnels dug, and truly exceptional acting from the ensemble. Let's return to Stalag 13 and observe the adventures of the Hogan's Heroes cast after the war concluded. Bob Crane as Colonel Hogan. Commander Robert E. Hogan, United States Army Air Forces. The primary character of the series, Commander Hogan, is a high-ranking officer among the prisoners of war at Stalag 13 and the leader of a clandestine group of inmates who covertly undermine the German war effort and facilitate the escape of Allied forces. Prior to his capture, Hogan was in charge of the 504th Bombardment Group, but was shot down during a mission to Hamburg when Luftwaffe Commander Albert Biedenbender accurately anticipated Hogan's plan and devised a successful counterattack. Bob Crane, the actor who portrayed Hogan, was born in Waterbury, Connecticut, as the younger sibling of 2 sons to Rose Mary and Alfred Thomas Crane. The family's original surname was Crean. Crane spent his formative years in Stamford, working in radio broadcasting at WLEA in Hornell, New York. He later relocated to Connecticut stations WBIS in Bristol and then WICC in Bridgeport, a 1,000-watt broadcasting operation with a signal that covered the northeastern part of the New York metropolitan area. In 1968, Crane and his Hogan co-stars Werner Klamer, Leon Askin, and John Banner appeared alongside Elke Sommer in a feature film, The Wicked Dreams of Paula Schultz, set in the divided city of Berlin during the Cold War era. In 1969, Crane starred alongside Abby Dalton in a dinner theater production of Cactus Flower. Claims that Crane had been emotionally distraught during filming and made off-color jokes about mortality and intimacy have been disputed by the show's producers and production staff, who stated that if anything inappropriate had been said, they would have halted filming or canceled the episode. The life and murder of Bob Crane were the subject of the 2002 feature film Autofocus, directed by Paul Schrader and starring Greg Kinnear as Crane. The film is based on the book by The Murder of Bob Crane, author Robert Graysmith, and was described as brilliant by critic Roger Ebert. Crane was found brutally murdered in his Scottsdale, Arizona apartment while on tour in June 1978 for a dinner theater production of Beginner's Luck. At the time of his death, Bob Crane's net worth was approximately $150,000. John Banner as Sergeant. Schultz. Corporal Hans Schultz. Oberfeldwebel Hans Schultz is Klink's rotund, bumbling, and endearingly simple-minded sergeant of the guard. His uniform displays 2 chevrons on the cuffs of his sleeves, denoting the rank of Hauptfeldwebel, equivalent to a company first sergeant with the same pay grade as Oberfeldwebel. He wears a fictionalized version of the Iron Cross. Banner was born on January 28, 1910, to parents of Jewish heritage in Stanislaus, Austria-Hungary, where he initially pursued a law degree at the University of Vienna before deciding to pursue an acting career. In 1938, while performing with a theatrical troupe in Switzerland, Adolf Hitler's annexation of Austria to Nazi Germany prompted Banner to learn English. Banner appeared on Broadway on 3 occasions, in a musical revue called From Vienna, which had a 2-month run in 1939, in 2 comedic plays, Pastoral, in which he played a leading role, but which had a brief run in November 1939, and The Big Two, which had a short-lived run in January 1947. Initially, before becoming proficient in English, Banner had to learn his lines through phonetic repetition. Following the cancellation of Hogan's Heroes in 1971, Banner starred as the hapless gangster Uncle Lotzie in a short-lived television sitcom, The Chicago Teddy Bears. His final acting appearance was in the March 17, 1972, episode of The Partridge Family. He then retired to France with his Paris-born second wife. Banner passed away on January 28, 1973, his 63rd birthday, due to a ruptured abdominal aortic aneurysm. At the time of his death, he was visiting friends in Vienna. John Banner was an Austrian-American actor who had a net worth of $3 million at the time of his passing. Larry Hovis as Carter. United States Army Air Force's Technical Sergeant Andrew J. Carter is a skilled chemist and explosives specialist responsible for munitions and bomb-making. Before the war, Carter was a Boy Scout who operated a pharmacy in Muncie, Indiana. In the series, Carter showcases exceptional talent in chemistry and explosives. Hovis was born in Wapato, Washington, and relocated to Houston, Texas at a young age, where he spent his formative years outside the Yakama Indian Reservation. As a young man, he was a vocalist, appearing on the talent show Arthur Godfrey's Talent Scouts. Hovis moved to California in 1963, where he pursued a career in comedy and attempted to break into television. In 1964, he was discovered by Andy Griffith's manager and was cast in the TV series Gomer Pyle, USMC, playing the role of Private Larry Gottschalk. He also made appearances on The Andy Griffith Show. Even before Hogan's Heroes was canceled in 1971, Hovis had already made guest appearances on other TV shows. In the mid-1970s, Hovis made appearances on the game show Match Game and the comedy series Rowan and Martin's Laugh-In alongside his Hogan's Heroes co-star Richard Dawson, and was a co-creator for Laugh-In as well. Later in the decade, he produced and was a regular panelist on the game show Liars Club and was hired as a co-producer for the hidden camera television show Totally Hidden Video, but was terminated by Fox executives who conducted an investigation of the pilot episode's segments and found that 3 out of 4 taped segments included paid actors and scripted content. The investigation was initially prompted by a lawsuit filed by Candid Camera creator Alan Funt, alleging that the new series was copying old Candid Camera situational contrivances. Hovis passed away from esophageal cancer in Austin, Texas on September 9, 2003. He was 67 years old. Larry Hovis's net worth at the time of his death was $19 million. Werner Klamer as Colonel Klink. Colonel Wilhelm Klink, a relic of the old guard, was a Luftwaffe officer of noble Prussian heritage. His character was marked by a propensity for being duped, a lack of courage, an inflated sense of self-importance, ineffectiveness, and a general air of confusion. As a seasoned aviator from the Great War, he proudly wore his Iron Cross First Class, along with a 1939 clasp for a second honor, the Luftwaffe's Ground Assault Badge, and the Pilot's Badge. Born in Cologne, Germany, to a family of musicians, Klemperer claimed to have had little affinity for music himself. Prior to his breakout role as a psychiatrist in Alfred Hitchcock's The Wrong Man, 1956, Klemperer had a minor part as the lawyer of the protagonist-antagonist, played by George Sanders, in Death of a Scoundrel. He also appeared as a German government official in the 1959 episode The Haunted U-Boat of the series One Step Beyond. Following the conclusion of Hogan's Heroes in 1971, Klemperer continued to work in theater and film, as well as making guest appearances on television. In 1987, he took on the role of Herr Schultz in the Broadway revival of Cabaret, earning a Tony Award nomination for Best Featured Actor. In 1993, Klemperer reprised his role as Klink in an episode of The Simpsons, where he played Homer's guardian angel and spirit guide in the episode The Last Temptation of Homer. According to the episode's DVD commentary, Klemperer required a brief refresher on how to portray Colonel Klink. He turned down subsequent offers to reprise the character, including one from talk show host Conan O'Brien. Klemperer passed away from cancer at his Manhattan home on December 6, 2000, at the age of 80. Richard Dawson as Newkirk. Royal Air Force Corporal Peter Newkirk, a skilled illusionist in his pre-military life, utilized his expertise in sleight of hand, forgery, and lock manipulation to aid in various missions, often duplicating Colonel Klink's signature or accessing the safe in his office. Newkirk's cunning nature also made him a formidable card shark, frequently engaging in high-stakes games with Sergeant Schultz to extract sensitive information. Additionally, he was a talented tailor responsible for crafting and altering uniforms, civilian attire, and disguises as needed for covert operations or prisoner escapes. Richard Dawson, the actor who portrayed Newkirk, was born on November 20, 1932, to Arthur and Josephine M. Dawson began his career as a stand-up comedian in England, performing under the stage name Dickie Dawson. His first television appearance occurred on June 21, 1954, at the age of 21, on the BBC program Benny Hill Showcase, a platform for introducing new talent. Dawson later showcased his comedic range in the 1987 film The Running Man, playing the role of Damon Killian, a self-absorbed and ruthless game show host. His performance garnered widespread critical acclaim, with film critic Roger Ebert noting, "As a character who seems perpetually inebriated, he chain-smokes his way through behind-the-scenes meetings, only to emerge on camera with a facade of forced joviality." In the year 2000, Dawson narrated the television special TV's Funniest Game Shows on the Fox network. On June 7, 2012, the Game Show Network aired a 4-hour tribute to Dawson's greatest moments on Match Game and Family Feud, including the inaugural episode of his 1994 to 1995 tenure as host. Richard Dawson passed away on June 2, 2012, at the age of 79, due to complications from esophageal cancer at the Ronald Reagan UCLA Medical Center in Los Angeles. At the time of his death, Dawson's net worth was estimated to be $100,000. Leon Askin as General Burkhalter. General Burkhalter, Klink's superior officer, oversees the Luftwaffe's network of prisoner-of-war camps, holding a rank equivalent to a 3-star general in the U.S. military. Burkhalter is a formidable and intimidating figure, frequently belittling Klink with verbal lashings. "Silence, Klink!" He often threatens to dispatch Klink to the Russian front or have him court-martialed. Burkhalter is perplexed by the unblemished record of Stalag 13, unable to comprehend how Klink's ineptitude has not led to chaos. Leon Askin, the actor who portrayed Burkhalter, was born into a Jewish family in Vienna, Austria, to Malvine and Samuel Ashkenazi. His introduction to show business occurred during World War I, when he recited a poem before Emperor Franz Joseph. Askin's portrayal of General Burkhalter was that of a gruff and imposing commanding officer who was constantly outsmarted by American Colonel Hogan, allowing the prisoners to engage in clandestine activities. Askin made numerous guest appearances on popular television shows, including The Restless Gun in 1957, My Favorite Martian in 1965, and The Monkees in 1967. He also appeared on Daniel Boone in 1969, Paul Sand in Friends and Lovers in 1974, and Happy Days in a Season 6 episode. Between 1977 and 1979, Askin portrayed Martin Luther and Karl Marx in Steve Allen's PBS series Meeting of Minds. In 1979, he played the role of Mr. Hoffmeyer, a bakery owner, in an episode of Three's Company titled The Bake Off. Howard Caine as Major Hawkstead. Major Hawkstead of the Gestapo is a zealous and short-tempered individual. prone to outbursts of rage. Unlike many of his fellow German characters, he frequently mentions his long-standing affiliation with the Nazi Party. Hawkstead often arrives at Stalag 13 to investigate Klink or one of Klink's guests. Given the high incidence of sabotage near the camp, Hawkstead is extremely wary of Hogan and comes to view him as the most treacherous man in all of Germany. Howard Caine was born on January 2, 1926, in Nashville, Tennessee, into a Jewish family. At the age of 13, Caine relocated with his family to New York City, where he began honing his acting skills and mastering 32 foreign and American dialects. Caine was also a member of the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences. He appeared in over 750 live and filmed television programs, including the Western series The Californians, Two Faces West, and The Travels of Jamie McPheeters, as well as the popular show Get Smart. From his early childhood in Tennessee, Caine had always been captivated by the Appalachian five-string bluegrass banjo and began perfecting his skills on the instrument in the mid-1960s. From the summer of 1970 until his passing in 1993, he won awards at 29 prominent banjo and fiddle contests in the southern United States for both Best Traditional Banjo and Traditional Singing. He was also a well-known folk singer and performed at numerous prominent folk clubs and festivals. Caine passed away from a heart attack on December 28, 1993, just 5 days shy of his 68th birthday. Sandravaldis as Hilda. Hilda took over the role of Klink's secretary, replacing Helga. Her responsibilities are similar to those of her predecessor, as she assists the prisoners by providing crucial information to Hogan and corroborating the details of his fabricated stories to Klink. Hilda's connection with Hogan appears to be more than just playful banter, as they are occasionally seen meeting in secret, and in the episode Top Secret Top Coat, she jokingly suggests he should compensate her for her help with a wedding ring. Outside of Hogan's heroes, Valdis appeared in various films and made guest appearances on several television shows, including The Wild Wild West and Kraft Television Theater. Valdis was married twice, first to fashion entrepreneur George Gilbert Ataya, with whom she had a daughter, Melissa Ataya. Her second marriage was to Hogan's Heroes co-star Bob Crane, whom she wed on the set of the show on October 16, 1970, with co-star Richard Dawson serving as Crane's best man. After the birth of their son Robert Scott Crane in 1971, Valdis stepped away from acting. Following Crane's tragic murder in 1978, Valdis relocated from the Los Angeles area. In 1980, she moved to Seattle, where in 1998, she joined the cast of her son's popular weekly sketch comedy radio show, Shaken, Not Stirred. In 2004, she returned to her childhood home in Westwood. Having lost 2 husbands, Valdis passed away on October 14, 2007, at the age of 72, due to complications from lung cancer in Anaheim, California, leaving behind 3 children, Melissa Smith, Ana Sarmiento, and Scott. Kenneth Washington as Baker. Following Dixon's exit from the show after the 5th season, the show's creators opted to introduce a new character instead of recasting his role. Baker, like Kinchlow, is an African-American radio specialist who manages the underground communications hub. Newkirk is promoted to Hogan's second-in-command in the 6th season. Washington was born on October 19, 1946. On the big screen, Washington had an uncredited role in the 1956 film The Birds and the Bees and appeared in the American family drama series Daktari that aired on CBS. He had a recurring role as Officer Miller in Adam 12. He also made a guest appearance in the Star Trek episode That Which Survives as the ill-fated engineer John B. Watkins, and had several other guest roles during the 1970s. In 1989, Washington made a guest appearance on A Different World, Cynthia Lynn as Helga. Helga was Klink's original secretary, and she played a crucial role in supporting Hogan and his team in their clandestine operations. She would often provide corroborating evidence for Hogan's fabricated stories to deceive Clink or pilfer sensitive documents to pass on to Hogan. Helga's personal relationship with Hogan was unmistakably flirtatious, and she was clearly enamored with him. In the pilot episode, Helga is seen working as a nail technician in the prisoner's underground barber shop, but this is the only instance where her cooperation is depicted in such detail. Lynn was born as Sandravaldis in Riga, Latvia. At the age of 8, she and her mother, Alisa, fled their homeland to escape the Soviet reoccupation of Latvia in 1944 during the tumultuous period of World War II and eventually settled in the United States in 1950. Her final acting appearance was in 1975 in an episode of the television series Harry O. She also made appearances in other notable shows, including Gidget Grows Up, Mission, Impossible, The Odd Couple, Love American Style, and The $6 Million Man. Lynn penned her autobiography, Escape to Freedom, in 2000, with the assistance of Edward and Sarah. Lynn had a romantic relationship with her Hogan's Heroes co-star, Bob Crane. She was also romantically involved with the legendary actor Marlon Brando. Following Brando's passing in 2004, Lynn's daughter Lisa revealed that her mother's brief affair with Brando had resulted in her birth in 1964. Lynn also had a son, Tony. Lynn passed away on March 10, 2014, at the age of 76, due to multiple organ failure brought on by hepatitis. John Cedar as Corporal Langenscheidt. Langenscheidt is one of Schultz's loyal guards, often arriving at inopportune moments, such as informing Clink of an unexpected visitor, much to the commander's chagrin. In the episode Art for Hogan's Sake, Langenscheidt becomes entangled in Hogan's plan to create a forgery of the priceless Edouard Manet painting The Fife Player and swap it with the original, which General Burkhalter had acquired from the Louvre in Paris as a birthday gift for Hermann Goering. John Cedar began his acting career in high school theater productions at Detroit High School. After enlisting in the U.S. military, he served in Italy during the Korean War. Cedar later moved to the United States with his family, appearing in various musical and off-Broadway productions. His stage credits from this time include the national tour of South Pacific, Irma la Douce, and The Deputy. He also joined the theater troupe, The Players' Ring, alongside his brother, George Cedar. Cedar's additional film credits include Little Cigars, 1973, The Execution of Private Slovic, 1974, Foxy Brown, 1974, Day of the Animals, 1977, Capricorn 1, 1978, The Concorde, Airport 79, 1979, Death Hunt, 1981, Kiss Daddy Goodbye, 1981, and Messenger of Death, 1988. His final film role was in the 1997 film Murder in Mind. Cedar and his late wife, Barbara Cedar, owned and operated a script typing company, Barbara's Place, during the 1970s and 1980s. In the 1990s, he coached actors at the Theater in Hollywood, California, including Chris Abel, who introduced him to fellow actors who also became students of Cedar, Getty Watanabe, and Steve Burton. John Cedar passed away due to leukemia at the Providence Tarzana Medical Center in Los Angeles on April 14, 2011, at the age of 80. At the time of his passing, John Cedar's estimated net worth was $1.5 million. Bernard Fox as Colonel Crittenden. Crittenden is a Royal Air Force Group captain. Since there's no equivalent rank in the United States military, he was referred to as Colonel to avoid confusing the show's American viewers. He's not the sharpest tool in the shed, but he's always enthusiastic. His rank is higher than Hogan's, which often leads to trouble when he overrules Hogan. He was born in 1927, and by the age of 14, he was working as an apprentice assistant manager at a theater. After serving in the Royal Navy during World War II and the Korean War, he returned to acting and appeared in over 30 films from 1956 to 2004, including 2 different movies about the sinking of the Titanic. He also appeared in McHale's Navy, The Man from UNCLE, and The Murder, She Wrote episode 1 White Rose for Death. In the 1980s, he co-starred with Michael Evans as Dr. Watson in Sherlock and Me. Fox and his wife had 2 daughters. He died of heart failure in 2016 at the age of 89. Nita Talbot as Maria. Nita Talbot played the role of Maria, a Russian émigré spy with ties to Hogan's operations. She often posed as the romantic interest of high-ranking German officials or scientists, with the ultimate goal of discrediting them or setting them up for capture, as she noted that, "We can't rely on Hitler to eliminate his own generals." Maria first crossed paths with Hogan and Leau in Paris during the show's 2nd season, where she became aware of their clandestine activities at Stalag 13. Born in New York City on August 8, 1930, Talbot launched her acting career as a model in the 1949 film It's a Great Feeling. She appeared in the Alfred Hitchcock Presents episode Maria, 1961, as a blonde circus performer who abandoned her husband due to manipulation by a malevolent dwarf woman. Talbot portrayed Sandy's agent, Maggie Prescott. However, after filming the pilot, CBS revised the format, and Talbot was subsequently dropped from the cast. She made a guest appearance in A Stitch in Crime, episode 6 of Columbo's 2nd season, 1973. Her final acting role was in 1997, when she lent her voice to the character of Anastasia Hardy, the business-savvy mother of Felicia Hardy, aka the Black Cat, in the animated series Spider-Man. Talbot was married twice, first to actor Don Gordon and then to actor Thomas A. Gaius. She had 1 daughter, Nicole Andrea Gaius, born in Los Angeles on May 28, 1962. Nita Talbot's net worth is estimated to be $4 million. Robert Clary as Leau. Corporal Louis Leau, a talented chef and part-time seamster, is a proud patriot with a passion for French cuisine. He frequently showcases his gastronomic expertise to impress Colonel Klink's distinguished guests, and Hogan often leverages Leau's culinary talents to gain access to these high society events. Leau is also known to barter with Schultz, offering him delectable treats in exchange for valuable information. Born in 1926 in the City of Light, Robert Clary was the youngest of 14 siblings, with 10 of them tragically passing away. His parents, Byla and Moish Wiederman, were immigrants from Poland of Jewish descent. At the tender age of 12, Clary embarked on a professional singing career on French radio and also honed his artistic skills. He later returned to the entertainment industry, crooning popular tunes that resonated with audiences in both France and the United States. After Hogan's Heroes concluded its run in 1971, Clary remained close to his former castmates Werner Klamer, John Banner, and Leon Askin, all of whom had been impacted by the Holocaust. Following the show's cancellation, Clary appeared in a string of feature films with World War II themes, including the TV movie Remembrance of Love, which explored the Holocaust. He also made appearances on the soap operas Days of Our Lives, The Young and the Restless, and The Bold and the Beautiful. Clary wed Natalie Cantor, the daughter of Eddie Cantor, in 1965. She passed away in 1997, leaving behind no children. Clary departed this life at his Los Angeles residence on November 16, 2022, at the ripe age of 96. His niece, Brenda Hancock, publicly confirmed his passing, but did not disclose the cause. At the time of his death in 2022, Robert Clary's net worth was estimated to be between $1.5 million and $1.9 million. Let's talk about this one-of-a-kind, hilarious show. Who was your favorite character on Hogan's Heroes? Did you follow it from start to finish? Whose career did you keep an eye on after? Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts.